Organizational skills, my passion, coming up. Welcome to the Best Years Podcast. This is Dr. Darlene at whatstopsyou.com, speaking to Generation X and baby boomers who want more. I'll share power, skills, and tools with you to get your mojo back on a conscious and unconscious level. Be ready for real and lasting change. As we discussed in part 1, we need a planning system with specific things, which is a to-do list, a calendar, addresses and numbers, week, month, and year at a glance, which is usually on paper as well as your phone, scratch paper for doodling and graffiti, and portability. Now that you have all that, let's rock and roll with some cool assessments and things you'll go, oh, I love that idea. In other podcasts, I've discussed that we have 24 hours in a day. With a tight lid on the top, bottom, and sides, it's steel, and you can't move it. You can squish and smash things in there, and then they come out all, when you smash your kid in really quick to hurry and do something, and he's annoyed because you didn't spend enough time, and he's mad at you. Or you stuff a plant in there, and it comes out all yucky because you didn't plan to put a nice little place in there for your kid in that square metal box, and you didn't plan to put a nice place for your plant with room around it, and you smashed it in. So let's not smash things in. Let's place them properly. You have many options with your time management. And before you shut the lid, like I say, you have choice of how to place things in. So from now on, we're going to plan ahead. And also in another podcast, I said, we don't get to say we don't have time. And I explained it thoroughly why, because everyone has the same amount of time. It's like you're holding a book and say, I don't have books. Well, you do. You're holding a book. So here's the deal. You can't have more time ever. You can just organize it better. So no more saying I don't have time. Say things that are true, like, well, I didn't prioritize for that, or I hadn't planned on that one. So we're not going to say I don't have time ever again. We're just going to be true and in our head or out loud say, that's not my priority right now. And just be really super honest with yourself. Fair enough? The cool thing about all this is studies show that the average mind can only process about 5 things at the same time. The actual scientific equation is 7 plus or minus 2 bits of information on the conscious mind, which is about 5 to 9-ish, mostly 5 things at the same time in your mind. So you can think about, say, for example, one child wants a drink. There's 1. You're getting food out of the microwave. There's 2, and you've got to make sure it's just the right temperature. You have to put it in longer or shorter. You can still hear your kid talk. 3, you think about a 5 o'clock deadline. You need to send your invoices while you're getting your things out of the microwave. And you're thinking about it, and you can still think about it like, okay, I've got to get this done, but the stuff in the microwave's got another minute in it. And then you remember you've got to call the babysitter, or you've got to call your kids to come get your kids because you're the babysitter, and you're thinking that at the same time. And then the next thing is your spouse or a friend comes in and they start telling you about what was on the news. You can still hear them. You can hear, oh, really? There was a bomb somewhere, or this happened, or there was an accident. I wonder if my child was in that accident. And you can still hear the child talk, understand the microwave. You could even get a text about right now and kind of look at it. But if one more thing happened, let's just say, okay, now I can't hear you. And now I'm going to get annoyed and I'm going to miss something. And so we can't hold that many things in our conscious mind. And you may say, oh, I'm good at multitasking. Well, okay, there's a limit to everyone. I don't care how strong you are. You probably can't lift up a grand piano all by yourself. So recognizing your limitations is super cool. It's super powerful. And write this down, say it out loud with me. I am not a robot. I am not a robot. My phone, I can record something and it keeps it forever. My computer can remember things forever and retrieve them. I am not a machine or a robot. I am a human being. And since I'm a human being, I'm going to cater to the weakest link, which is my brain. If you're pressing a lot of weight with your legs and your quads are super strong, but your knee is sore, Well, you have to cater to the weakest link, which is your knee, and not lift too much weight, even though your quad could handle it. So even though my body can handle doing all these things at once, and now I'm going to go run training for my half marathon right after I get things out of the microwave. Well, the weakest link is your mind. It has definite limitations. So we need to plan. And it's so exciting when we cater to this, when we get it on an unconscious level, then we can cater to our mind and recognize these things. So if you had a coach sitting right next to you and I was meeting with you, by the way, I do that with little mini sessions or whole sessions, so check that out. And let's say I'm sitting right next to you. Would I say the planning system you have right now is working, yes or no? Now it's a system. Then we're going to talk about what you're going to stick in the system. Now that you have that system, let's talk about time management tools assessment. We're going to do an assessment. And like I've mentioned in part 1, this is a little bit of a workbooky kind of type of podcast. And I'm looking at right here, I've got my time management ebook that I wrote called Time Equals Money. And of course, you can get things on my website, and that's something you may want to grab and look at as we go, and or just listen up. So we're going to go through this, and there's a lot. So I may break it up. There's 38 items, and that's kind of a lot for one. So let's just go through some of them where we feel right today. And I want you to say 1 to 5 how good you are at these. If you're driving, just go horrible, okay, or fabulous. So you're going to just kind of wait which ones you are. And then when you stop driving, you may want to come listen to this part again and really write it down. So 1 to 5 or bad, middle, great. How would you assess the following? And these are cool ideas. Number 1, I get that we have 24 hours in a day and I can't have more. Now, some of you are going to argue here. My mom has so much more time than me. My dad's made all the money. She's never had to work and she's always got time. But you know what? Isn't she the busiest person ever? My mom is 90. She's in a home. She's the busiest person ever. In fact, every time I call her, to be quite frank, and I hope she's not listening to this, I kind of feel bad because she's always telling me how busy she is right as I say hello. Instead of, hi, how are you? I'm like, oh, okay. So she's so busy, I probably shouldn't have called her. And she's living in a home. So we all fill up our day. Isn't that the truth? But do you get that we have 24 hours in a day? Do you get it? That I can't have more. It's just about organizing it. So if you totally get it, you're a 5. Number 2, love this one. I understand on a scale from 1 to 5 that when I say yes to something, I'm saying no to something else. Very powerful. I understand that when I say no to something, I can say yes to something else. I am consciously aware of the opportunity costs of saying yes. Now I should pause here for about 3 minutes because that's pretty profound. When I say yes to something, I'm saying no to something else. When I say no to something, I'm saying yes to something else. This can be included in dating someone. If you say yes to him or her, you're saying no to the rest. If I'm saying yes to babysitting, I'm saying no to lunch with a friend. If I say yes to lunch with a friend, I'm saying no to something I need to do with work. And each day, you get to choose what's most priority for you and follow through with what you decide. You could pause on that one for a really long time and think about it. Great thing is you can play this over and over and pause it and ponder, walk around, ride your bike, come back and look at the next one. All right, the next one. The third one. I have my planning system with me at all times. Well, anymore, that's pretty easy because it's called a phone. It used to be a big planner. And then you'd have 5 planners, one for this, one for that, one for that. Now we have just a phone and maybe a month at a glance thing. I've got one on my wall, a month at a glance, and I've got a month at a glance, a little planner I got on Amazon that sits on my home desk. So do you have that 1 to 5? Now, if you're all 5s at the end, you'll go, yep, I'm cool. If you're all 1s, you go, ooh, I need to buy the book and I need to meet with her. Or if you're 3s or 4s, you may want to meet with me or someone else. All right, number 5. I love this. And this was in part 1 of my podcast on time management, but I'll say it again. I have 8 hours in a day for leisure that I plan. Leisure includes getting ready for the day, of course, because mathematically you've got to put that in there. Cooking or anything other than work or sleep. Play includes enjoyable activities such as, and I'm reading this from my book, hobbies, sports, or other physical activities. Now, a balanced day ought to include 8 hours of work-ish, 8 hours of sleep, not ish, no ish involved here. If you just want to look ugly and old and yucky and dark circles and be dragging around and annoy other people and hate your life, then just don't sleep enough. And that's a choice. We all have choices. Now, I say 8 hours, and that, of course, I guess is an ish because some can do 6. But I'm telling you, because we wake up, we go potty, we think 8 hours is what's recommended. And hey, that's just what I'm going to do. So do you sleep 8 hours at night? Do you work-ish 8 hours, and do you spend the rest of it with leisure time? Are you balanced? So this whole thing is, are you balanced? 1 to 5, are you balanced? I got it? Or, I work 23 hours a day, and I sleep 1 hour. But I have to. Look, I'm going to insert my dad's proverb. And this is a little bit old-fashioned, but it's kind of the same. He said, darling, if you can't make it in 40, you can't make it. And what he meant is in your business, if you're working 40 hours a week, you're not going to make it. If you can't do it in 40, you can't do it, is what he said. And he was a multi times 7 millionaire. And I listened to him. Oh, do I listen to his proverbs. So if you can't make it in 40, you can't make it. Now, I'm going to just say the ish part is maybe your first year in business or 2, you work more than 40, but people, listen to me. There's delegation, so you really don't need to work more than 40, but you need to be focused in 40, zeroed in, zoomed in 40, crush it, and then have balance. Because if you don't have balance, you have a wheel that goes, and there ain't no wheel that rolls smoothly that's not balanced, and there ain't no life that rolls smoothly without being balanced. And I will do a whole nother podcast on my balanced living wheel assessment to see about that. But for today, 1 to 5, let's see, the one was, I understand I have 8 hours for sleep, play, leisure, and work. Okay, got it. Next one, totally different. I make my bed every morning. There are studies. I don't have the site and reference right here. Google it. There are studies that say if you make your bed every morning, your day is smoother. It's the same thing as making sales calls. I had a team, many teams in my past life, that I would tell them to get ready, put their makeup on or shave, shower, put their ties on before they made those sales calls. There's just a psychology of being ready when you do your sales calls or work on the phone. And if you have your bed made, it's organized and you're ready for the day. It's almost a symbol. I actually love to make my bed because it's a table for me. Once my bed's made, first thing, right before I feed the dogs, I make my bed and then I have a table for my clothes or my briefcase or something I'm going to set on it. And so making your bed, in my opinion, and you're listening to me, so I'm telling you my opinions of the books that I've written on time management, and see what happens. Let me know in the comments about that one. Next one. My bedroom and my car are straight and orderly. If you're going on a date, isn't it so funny how the guy or the girl who's coming to pick you up hurries and cleans their car? Well, if you're going on a date with someone, you might want to sneak over to their house and stick your head in their car. And stick your head in their bedroom and just see how organized it is. And I promise to God that is how organized they are in their life. I'm telling you, in my opinion, it's 100% smack on exactly the personality of the person, how orderly their car is and their bedroom. I know, right? And I would love to hear in the comments about that for you. It's so interesting. My ex-husband, 100 years ago, when we were dating, I remember going into his room, and for the most part it was okay, but he had a stack of clothes. I thought they were sitting in a wheelbarrow, on top of a wheelbarrow in his room, because it was so tall. But when I kind of looked under, there wasn't anything under the clothes. The clothes went to the floor. No, I'm not kidding you. They went up and up to my waist, the pile of clothes. And it was kind of an orderly pile, but it was a pile of dirty clothes. Really? And everything else seemed normal. And I thought, oh, isn't he cute? Well, years later, swear to you, this is what it was. He had the same pile of clothes. And then I got kind of bugged where I ain't going to pick them up. And I love you very much. So I would just set them, the ones that weren't in the pile, to the side. And the pile got bigger. And I went, that's so funny, because it's the exact same type of pile as when we were dating. And he was 23 and I was 19. And this was 10 years later. I know, right? So we can't change other people, but we can change ourselves. What does your car look like? And what does your bedroom look like? I love this. I should put this in my dating podcast. I'll talk about it. How about that too? Okay, now, I know, right? There's a lot to say here. The next one, a little different, 1 to 5. My office is straight and orderly. My desk is free of clutter. Now, let me tell you about this. This is different. You might find a guy whose car is clean, his room is clean, or a gal, and you go into her or his office, and it doesn't look good. It looks like it's kind of skitty-wampus. Well, if they sat at their desk, now, this will correlate with their clean bedroom and their clean car. And you said, so where do you have the invoices for it? And they go, oh, right here. Where's the tax? Oh, it's in this file. They're going to know. So the desk doesn't look clean to you, but it is to them. Now, in contrast, because I just have a doctorate in human behavior, let me correlate you my opinion or my thoughts or my research in my brain that I've just informally done, is that if their car's a mess and their room's a mess, the desk that appears messy is also not organized, even in their brain. So if you said, where's the tax forms? Well, I don't know, I have to find them. Oh, where's the invoice for? It's in here somewhere. And so their desk isn't organized to them. So is this making sense? And tell me if I'm right in the comments, because I would love to hear if I'm right, because I made this up. The desk will look unorganized to anyone but the person. But if their car and room are clean, the desk is organized to the person. If the car and room are disorganized, the desk is disorganized to that person. I know. Things that make you go, Now, there are the people who have really super clean desks, and that would be me, because I think I actually have a limitation that I can't even function in chaos, which is good and a limitation at some point. So I know that I have to have my desk really organized. And so when I was doing school, I would have all this stuff for statistics. And then I'd have all this stuff for human development class or family something. And so I kept it all in one file. These are the books. These are the files. And these are the da-da-da. And in my computer it was organized. And so when I'm done with family systems, I close it up, file it away, bring out statistics all over the desk. When I'm done, fold it up, put it back. I have a podcast called How to Study in College, and I go over that specifically. So what I'm seeing is a clean desk is the best thing because it's organized. Now, while I'm working, it doesn't look organized. I even have a stuffed bear sitting here on my desk because it's lifting up something and it's pushing against something I need lifted. Don't you think that's really funny? And if someone else walked in, they'd go, her desk's kind of messy. But trust me, when this podcast is done, it will look really clean and done. So on this one, 1 to 5, how organized is your desk? With a little disclaimer and explanation that if it's organized to you and your bedroom's clean and your car's clean, then we're good. Otherwise, hey, make some changes, get some files, get some shelves. Yeah, those are details, but those are the things now you know to focus on. Next one, my files are organized and I know where all files are kept. My ex-husband used to say, so can you go find I need my birth certificate. Can you find it? And I'd always say, well, I'm not going to go find it. I'm just going to go get it because I know where it is. Yeah, we need to find the taxes for blah, blah, blah. I go, can you go find those? Okay, well, I'm not going to find them. I'm just going to go get them because I know where they are. So I'm not finding them. I'm just going to get them. And here's a side note for you, a study that was so intriguing to me. Again, I don't have the site and reference for you right now. And that showed, it was a Reader's Digest something, and it said that the average person, okay, are you ready for this one? Oh, drum roll. The average person spends a third of their life looking for things. Oh, no. Oh, that's a lot of time. A third of their life looking for things? So I want you to pause for a moment and say, how much of yesterday was I looking for something? And I want you to say 0. Unless there's like a problem, the dog took your purse. Hey, my dog, I couldn't find my purse once and I found it the next day outside by the fence. Yep. Lacey at the time years ago took my purse out the doggy door and ate my gum. So are there times when you lose things? Yes, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your brain and your organization and your management that you don't spend any of your day looking for things. You just know where it is. Now let's talk about internal files on your computer. Oh, now that might be a different story. And I might be a little bit, maybe I'm not the queen anymore. I got to take my tiara off here on this and talk to my assistant because she and I, between us, we've gone from Dropbox to Google Drive to, all the other internal blah, blah, blah of where files are and what we're transferring over. So because of changes, my files are not as slick. I needed a song that I paid for to write for my company for intro music years ago, and I spent a month looking for that. So there's a third of my life thing. So I'm guilty right now. And I found it on a CD at my St. George house underneath a pile of stuff to be filed. Oops. So yes, when systems change from a CD to downloading to a file, things are going to get mucky and out of order. And yes, indeed they are. And so that you've got to keep up on every day to make sure those files are organized. So my tiara is not even in the room right now. And that's something Sarah and I are going to hit in the next month to really clean out Dropbox and move it over to the drive and etc. So that's something most of us need to work on as good as we can be because systems change and files and formats and MP3s and waves and all that. So best you can get your body on that one and get that organized. So 1 to 5, I'm only a 2.5. Yeah, I know, right? So I'm going to work on that one and I will return and report. Okay. Take a breath. I'm not done. Are you done? I think I'm going to keep going here because these are really super good. So, okay, next one. I dress appropriately for my job description. I am aware of the appropriate image I want to portray. Now, what does this have to do with time management? This has to do with production, and it's a little side note than your external time management thing. Carol Tuttle's the queen of this one, so you may want to refer to her, Dressing Your Truth. And so what you want to do, in my opinion, I'll do a whole podcast on this too, is dress for the part and dress one up. So if you're doing a presentation for someone, you'll dress like the group. If they're all contractors, then you're going to dress cash but go up one bit, like a business jacket with Levi's. If they're all in suits, you'll have a suit on with some color splash. So you want to dress the part. And I just think that's part of time management principles. I don't know. I just threw that in there. So that's a whole other subject, which I think is wonderful, as well as the subject of being prepared and doing what you need to do. So think about dressing your part. Next one, focusing on one task at a time. Yep. When I'll tell you, I get so annoyed. You know what, you guys, I get annoyed. I need to make a podcast on getting annoyed at small things. Big things I can handle. Like if I get in a fender bender, or even if my awning on my trailer breaks, I can handle it. But little things annoy me. And so I'm working on it. And it bothers me when I'm working with someone, like say a realtor, or I'm buying a vacuum, or I'm in a store and they're helping me and they're just showing me, and then they get a phone call and they answer it. That's not appropriate. That's not focusing on one task at a time. Whenever you're with a customer, be with a customer with your phone on silent. Now, when it comes to your office desk, your phone is on silent. How many podcasts have I had interrupted by my phone ringing? Oops. So I've learned to turn my phone off. And one task at a time is Facebook is a really great thing to do. And a lot of people say, well, I need to just not do Facebook so much. Well, no, you can do everything you want to do. But say, I'm going to do Facebook when I'm done with this task. I'm writing a book, or I'm correcting papers for my college classes. Well, as soon as I've corrected 5 papers, I'll go play on Facebook, or I'll work on Instagram, or whatever, and just time management it in. So you don't have to say no to almost anything. You just time management, because you're focusing one task at a time. And of course, there's 1,000 ways for social media to nab us and get us. And so best you can, turn that off. Turn your mind on focusing, laser focus. I talk about how to study for college. I studied, this is true, and you can go, oh, I studied for 3 hours a day, 7 days a week for 7 years. And I kid you not, I probably missed 3 times. And if I missed one, then I'd have to do 6 hours the next day. Oh my gosh. And you know what? I was laser focused. And when you laser focus anything, you can get so much done in 3 hours. I didn't need to study all day. I just needed 3 laser hours. And laser hours are different than non-laser hours. And it feels good to have laser hours. Burn a hole in it. It's awesome. That was another one of my dad's proverbs. Darlie, when you're working, when you're doing something, burn a hole in it. I love that. In fact, his proverbs were on the back of his funeral program. And yep, burn a hole in it. That's what we do. Let's do 2 more. Okay, this one says, I have no more than 5 general areas of focus in my life. Now you're going to rate this 1 to 5. I say no to other areas. I realize I'm not always able to fit every one of my talents into my box of time. For example, I can't be an actress, write a book, train for a marathon while I'm going to school full-time and starting a new business and learn the guitar and Spanish. I choose to say no. I honestly remember the day that I looked at my guitar and I was really kind of good at it. Hello, in 6th grade. And I even sang in front of the school. And I remember the day saying, I'm not choosing, because we're not saying I don't have time. I'm not choosing to do the guitar at this time because I've got 7th grade to do. And there were some other things I was super involved in. And I'm choosing to say no to the guitar other than playing just in my bedroom. And to this day, right now, you know what I'm saying no to, which is super sad? Nah. And I'm going to make a change, just not yet. I have wanted to learn Spanish fluently. My dad was born in Chihuahua in Mexico. I have been raised around Spanish. I've taken all Spanish in high school. I've done all the Pimsleur things. I've gone through it. And I know that if I lived in the heart of Mexico or somewhere where it was solo español and nothing else, I could be fluent like that. And so that's what it's going to take for me to just kick it, because I've book read it, but I need to be around it. And so what I'm saying is no to Spanish right now. I'm open to it. I listen to it. I speak it when I can. My son speaks it, but I'm saying no. And it's powerful to say, I'm not choosing that yet. And I love the word yet, because one time soon, bye-bye, I'm going to go live in Mexico for 2 months. I'm going to come back. And then I need to have a plan. When you say yes to something and you get good at something, I need to have a plan of how I'm going to continue it by maybe having books written in Spanish, translated in Spanish. I might do workshops in Spanish and podcasts. My goal is podcasts in Spanish. Oh my golly. I'm really excited for that. So I'm going to put that on my list. I have a master list as well, and we'll talk about that. So last one. So much to say. Yeah. I love this. If I use a proper planning system, I highlight categories of similar tasks with colored markers. Now, remember the Franklin days. I'm going to turn my page in my book. I loved highlighting in my Franklin planner. Now, I don't have one, so of course, in your calendar, I put anything to do with money in my calendar green, my calendar on my computer and my phone, and anything fun is yellow. And anything's logistic, like a doctor's appointment, or I need to take the dog to the groomer, is purple. And so that's just fun. It's just something that helps me organize as I glance. What am I doing for money? What am I doing for play? For today, I think we're good. I've got 16 to 38 more. And the next one's about sticky notes. That will be time management part 3. And I'm really excited to get into that one, because of all of these, this is one of my absolute favorites that I'll tell you in the next podcast. So practice the ones we've talked about. Go ahead and listen to this again and notice how much more control you're getting in your life. And notice how you're becoming like the person you modeled and respected at the first of this podcast. And isn't it nice to control your day? It does not control you. Time does not control me. I control my day, and I can do everything I want. Have a great super rest of this day, and we'll talk soon. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to my channel so we can hang out. Also, go to www.whatstopsyou.com for notes to this podcast and learn more power skills to indeed live the best years of your life.